All right, so that was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address at the third Voice of the Global South Summit, where he said that this is the third edition, and in the previous editions also he's emphasized and he has given importance to the voice of the Global South countries. That also set the agenda for the G20 summit that was hosted by India back, and he also emphasized on different sectors, straight from technology. He also focused on DPI and how UPI is creating new remarkable benchmarks for other Global South countries also. And India is not behind when we talk about sharing the resources, sharing the skill set that India has got, and also learning from other countries. Not only this, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that India has always come up as the first responders to all the countries, and especially the countries of the Global South. And further to this, in the anticipation of the upcoming UN summit that is focused around the Pact for the Future, Prime Minister also appealed to all the Global South countries to work towards in that direction also, where the voice of the Global South can emerge even stronger. So this was the inaugural address of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and now the discussions will take place in the third summit of Voice of the Global South. And to discuss more on this, I would be joined in a very short while by Amritpal Singh, DD India senior correspondent, to talk more on this. But before that, let me also tell you that Prime Minister Narendra Modi also highlighted the current ongoing situations that the entire world is facing. Not only the world is currently still recovering from post-pandemic conditions, it is still on its recovery path, but the geopolitical tensions that are creating few challenges for not only the country but the world to come up with that strong mobility, to come up with that strong economic status, that is also taking a lot of time to recover, and it is creating challenge for other countries, the Global South countries, the other countries, the West nations, to come up from that. There are other challenges which are posed in terms of technology, because there are both challenges and opportunity that come with the as a boon and bane when we talk about technology. That also needs to be taken care when we talk about a world and its development, path to development. We also know the fact that India is on its way to becoming the third largest economy, and in a recent interview, one of the economists said, senior economists said, that India will definitely become the third largest economy, but a lot needs to be done for that, and Global South Summit is a key pillar that works towards that dream goal of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And not only this, he also talked about the need of the hour that every nation should focus upon, especially when we talk about Voice of the Global South. The need of the hour, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, is to stand united, because there are many geopolitical tensions which are going on, be it the crisis situations which are currently happening between different nations, that is currently posing challenges to trade, to economy, to health, to the epidemic outbreaks from COVID-19 pandemic, to the recent epidemic, to the recent diseases which has been declared as a global health emergency, which is the Mpox. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in an overall context, said that India has come up as the first responders, and also India always focuses on one world, one health, and friendship for health. That always has been the focus of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And to discuss more on this, to highlight more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Amritpal Singh. Amritpal, we heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressing the inaugural session of the third Global Voice of the Global South Summit. What are the key priority areas that will be focused throughout the summit today, Amritpal?
Well, the Prime Minister took on from where India had left at the second Voice of Global South Summit. Last year, India had organized two Voice of Global South Summit, again in the virtual format like today. Today, at the inaugural session of the leaders' retreat, the Prime Minister essentially said that the concerns and aspirations of the Global South have to be factored into the global governance architecture. He gave various examples of how India had taken a lead and taken the suggestions and heard the voice of the 100+ countries of the Global South and factored that into the G20 agenda. He says things haven't changed much from where we left last year, because conflicts continue. Food security, energy security, health security remain key concerns. The world is marred by conflicts, and the Global South in this has to come together and find solutions to the problems that afflict the world. Proposed. He talked about how Arogya Maitri, an initiative that India had launched to help the developing countries. He gave examples of how India, in the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict, is sending aid to people of Gaza, humanitarian aid to people of Gaza, or even in PNG or Papua New Guinea. After the volcano erupted, how India was acted as a first responder. So he says this needs to be institutionalized further. He spoke about various things because this Voice of Global South will have 10 ministerial meetings as well. So he said that open free trade between these countries where we build on each other's complementarities. India shares its expertise in, say, DPI or digital public infrastructure. He announced 25 million. He said that he announced a sustainable, social impact fund. I'm sorry, a social impact fund where he said that India will contribute $25 million towards it. He spoke about how at the upcoming UN summit, these countries need to come together, and if they can put their collective weight in these global institutions and create and take forward the agenda which reflects the priorities of the global South. So essentially, these I would say that these are the key takeaways from Prime Minister's inaugural remarks at the opening session.
And how does that globally position India when we talk about global landscape? Because as you said, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized all the global South leaders to work upon Pact for the Future UN Summit, which is expected in the future. And not only this, he also urged all the global South leaders to stand united in this hour, in this current hour. How do we see this in global light?
Deepika, you know what? I think the Prime Minister was basically trying to say that the initiative of the the global South getting together, which India took, has to go ahead in a way where the priorities, concerns, and aspirations of the global South are factored into the wider decision making of the world. The developed world cannot, outsizes its roles when it comes to the global governance architecture. And when the Prime Minister talks about the pact, he essentially says that the global South countries need to put their collective weight and their collective voice to shape the agenda of the world so that it suits their needs, their concerns, addresses their needs and concerns. So, India taking a leadership role in this, but also urging the other global South countries to come and find solutions to the problems that afflict the world, because the developed world for a very, very long time has been overshadowing the agenda, and therefore, understandably so, the solutions that they propose are more suited to their needs. But 2/3 of the world's population lives in what is called the global South or the developing world. So they need to come together, they need to form interlinkages with each other so that they can build on each other's complementarities. Deepika?
All right, and for all our viewers, the Pact of the Future Summit will take place in United Nations in the coming month, and all the details will be available as and when we receive it. Thank you so much, Amrit, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on Prime Minister's inaugural address at the 3rd Voice of the Global South Summit.